in the advertisement, some discussion on the amendments to our ordinance. Those things have, we can't flip the order because someone may come for the hearing later, or for the meeting later.
Okay, so what's the next item that we're going to do?
Actually, we scheduled a public hearing. Again, the roll call showed identical to the prior hearing. This is a hearing, actually, I don't know that we're completely ready to finalize anything. We have about, I think, 5 or 6 items on here that we needed to discuss on amendment changes. Most of them are minor, but there are 5 or 6 different items. And it is a hearing, so we're going to have to continue it again. But right now, I think between our engineer and our solicitor, we have some suggestions on how to amend each of these items. So if we go through them one at a time, we can at least, it'll be on record, and then if we can't finish it up tonight, we'll continue it again. So Dan, I think you were helping us with the design standards.
Yeah, I can take the first one and at least some of the part 6. Under part 5, subdivision and land development, Bruce and I have been struggling a little bit with as-built plans with developers as to what's on them. I think the ordinance is a bit vague, so we need to define what as-built plans are. At the same time, regarding storm sewers, modern development and construction practice is to use plastic pipe for storm sewers. We don't use it on the road crossings, but we use it along the roads. So what Joe Seitz has been requiring in North Stream, and I'd like to adopt here, is we get the developer to televise the storm sewers when the project is complete before we take them over, at least the sewers along the road, because there can be issues that need to be rectified. Mr. Graziani voluntarily did that up in Alta Piano recently. We found some issues, we got them corrected. This is just to clean up practices and so forth. So I don't know that the board, if you have an opinion one way or another, I don't think it's an onerous requirement. I think it's typical of what's required.
Dan, we're going to need that written up though, so for the next time we can publish it.
Yes.
I'm sure we're not ready for that tonight.
That's correct.
So I'll offer it for publishing.
Which item did you say was onerous?
I said what we're requiring in here under Part 5, that was the Section 504E, the as-built plans. We're requiring that now. What we're saying is that we would require the developer also to televise the storm sewer to make sure when we're done that everything is okay, because you can watch a pipe go in the ground, it gets backfilled, people come and build homes and do things, and things happen to them, believe it or not.
All right, that's the first item. Dan, what other one?
Yeah, under Part 6, moving into those ones, I'll just cover the first one. We really don't have a commercial road cross-section adopted in our ordinance. We got that voluntarily accepted in South Point Phase 2. I think that held up pretty well. It's a heavy, thick bituminous section. I believe we at least have 11 inches of bituminous in that cross-section for a commercial development. There is the potential ultimately for the Pool Valley development. I don't know if that'll ever come to be anytime real soon, but we should have something in our ordinance to adopt that road cross section. And I have that. That's already complete. Like I said, we've done it for other roads, but I think we need to get that in the ordinance.
Can you tell me what that is, Dan?
Well, we have a road design for a road. A thickness of paving that we use in residential subdivisions. That's held up well for the township over the years, but we need one for our commercial development, which has to be heavier.
Okay.
That's really what I'm asking for. Bruce, you want to take fire hydrants?
I know this has been a point of discussion. The section in our ordinance right now identifies the fire hydrants, but there's no real technical standard for it in terms of spacing. What I'd like to do is, from some other communities and working with our fire companies, put together a designated spacing from hydrant to hydrant for new developments. and for actually for anywhere in the township.
I'm surprised we don't have anything like that. Seems pretty.
And what would that be?
Well, I mean, I like to confer with the fire companies, but, you know, I know some of the other communities that, 300-foot spacing between hydrants.
300?
300.
What is it now?
We-
600?
600.
600?
But that's actually just a policy or rule of thumb. It's not, we don't have anything in writing.
Well, whatever the standards were, whether it was it becomes 3 or stays 6, the developers were always cooperating with you guys for placement.
Right.
You know, the subdivision, so Elizabeth, it's not, you mentioned that, it's not like we didn't have anything to get fire hydrants installed, but if it's defined in there, it's probably a little better.
And we'll be looking at the ISO, which is Insurance Services Office standard as well for public protection.
All right.
I think that under part 6, fire hydrants, isn't it 606?
605 or 606.
606C.
Yeah, it says 605 here.
Anything else on yours?
Moving further down, it's actually would be a new section, but it was briefly discussed here with the public hearing.
Wait, let's get on, just, I want to kind of keep in order here. Dan, would you help us with this?
Yeah, stormwater management, we're required under our MS4 permit for the township to adjust the stormwater regulations in the township. So what we need to do is adopt the Washington County model ordinance with some adjustments to that. There'd be really no changes. It's what developers have to follow now for really when you submit a permit for the DEP. Our regulations aren't in sync with theirs. This would put our regulations in sync with what the DEP requires and they install anyway. So I have the model ordinance. We have that ready to go. We can get that in front of the board.
All right. Then Bruce, who put on the mailbox cluster?
Yes, this would actually be something new. It's actually something that most communities are now faced with. The Postal Service in new developments will not provide door-to-door delivery. They will utilize the method of cluster boxes. We have them now in the one new development. However, we don't have anything identifying where they're to be located. It's their maintenance. Do they require pull-off parking or parking pad? And I'm looking at various things. Should they be designated in an area of designated open space where the maintenance is controlled by the homeowners associations? Right now, I've looked around and most communities are just starting to deal with this.
For single family homes or for townhomes and one-story?
Single family, everything.
New developments there.
I have a problem with one location on O'Hare Road. What are those flats? I can't remember the development name. I'm sure it's Mission Hills, yes, thank you. Mission Hills, those are flats, essentially, expensive flats. And I think they're primarily geared toward older people. But the mailboxes, the cluster boxes, are at the bottom of the hill. Those people have to walk up and down that hill. Number one, it's a hill. Number two, in bad weather, it's difficult to navigate. And I don't think that should be where it is.
Well,
Georgetown Estates, their cluster boxes, and they seem to be working fine.
the location of them is somewhat dictated by the Postal Service. I was on the phone with the Postal Service and regarding the old Tano plant, and there's a cul-de-sac that was recently approved over there, and I'm working with the Postal Service right now. There's a certain percentage of lots in the cul-de-sac as to where the cluster boxes to be located.
There's a certain percentage of what, I didn't hear.
Certain percentage of lots within a cul-de-sac as to what dictates a cluster box. I guess what I'm saying is that we can dictate where they're to be located, but the amount of cluster boxes are broken up by the number of lots, and that's dictated by the Postal Service. I mean, like I said, this is something fairly new, and we're just starting to scratch the surface on. I talked with county planning on it as well, and they really haven't encountered the issue yet.
Right, Bruce, you're not implying that, like Mission Hills, they couldn't have put some multiple blocks in different locations spread throughout that plan. It's down at the bottom. I know, was that the developer's choice at the time?
At the time it was, yes.
All right, so the Postal Service, they're going to allow them sprinkled throughout development.
Correct.
All right, then that'd be easy to at least work on that. I think the developers now, if that's the federal regulation, then they're going to have to meet it even if we don't have it in here. I mean, I'd like to get it in here, but don't let that hold you up on as you review a plan to start platting those on it.
The new development off of Anger Road, right at the intersection of Coldstream and Gantry Drive, there was one installed over there, and we received numerous phone calls on it, and it was just put within the right-of-way. The question comes up
What
is
kind of phone calls about?
people complaining they were not made aware that the Postal Service is doing this.
But meantime, see if you can get us a model ordinance from the state. That'll help us get started on it.
I've been looking around. Let's see here.
We're just doing it, just help me understand what exactly the reason for cluster mailboxes, so that people aren't hitting mailboxes when they're.
It's more of a because of the Postal Service, they're trying to decrease their costs.
So this is driven by the Postal Service, not by.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I would ask two things. If we can somehow get these on the plans so that if there's a problem at the beginning, if these can be located on the plans beforehand, because obviously the Postal Service is not, I can't believe that they would put a cluster box at the bottom of the hill and have elderly people have to go up and down that hill and in inclement weather.
Well, he just said that it wasn't the Postal Service requiring one at the bottom of the hill.
Well, they just did it, apparently. That's the impression I'm
The
getting.
development, not that we blame the Postal Service for that.
All right, then we blame the developer.
Well,
So
right.
that should be on the plans, and the terrain should be considered.
We are working on that, and Dan and I've been looking.
In fairness, on Mission Hills, that plan took so long to build that he felt, I think if they would have built that right away or finished it right away, they wouldn't have had to do the clusters. It came in, it took so long, so that wouldn't have even come up in our planning. This is a relatively new issue last
I have
year.
mixed feelings about them, if I'm being honest. I don't, like Elizabeth said, if you have any sort of disability or handicap and it's not close to your home, it becomes a huge hassle to get your mail every day.
And in inclement weather,
Yeah.
it's more difficult. So this is what I want us to try to look toward to the degree that we can with any developer, where it's going to go.
Well, I think right now, one thing we need to look at, and that's the reason I am, is where they are located. Are they located within the right-of-way? Another one over in the new Rhine development, they just arbitrarily put parking right off the road for access. So there's all these things that we have to look at. It just doesn't require parking, which should require that. Its location.
I would say absolutely we require parking. For example, I used to live, prior to my home now, we used to have a cluster mailbox right in front of our house. People used to park in front of our driveway to get their mail. I mean, we can't have other people inconvenienced because people are getting their mail.
I understand.
Yeah, I've been in plans out of state where they actually have parking stalls for a couple of cars, 3 or so to pull off.
But then that becomes the question, who maintains that parking in inclement weather?